Hello, everyone. Welcome to Nerdalism. Today we are joined by, this way, I never get it right, Scott Zakarin, who is the godfather of the web series and an incredible director, producer, maker, all-around artist. So welcome to the show.
Hey, Veronica. So my first question is why, what is it, the name of the thing?
Nerdalism.
Okay, so why nerdalism?
Nerd journalism.
Oh.
Journalism.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Actually, nobody's asked me that before. So thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody thought they had to before. That's.
You know, and it's funny. I thought that it'd be kind of obvious, but apparently not. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. I am so excited because you've been at this a really long time. Like you were like a pioneer of all this stuff. So I'll start off asking you about The Spot. So because I know he's got a couple questions. Oh, and also please welcome my co-host. I'm not used to this yet. My co-host for this show, Skywalking Bounty Hunter. Did you want to? Are you wanting to use your real name or?
Yeah. My name's Shamim.
Shamim. Okay.
Yeah, I've known Scott for about five years now. One of the coolest guys I've known, and he gave me the shirt off his back. This shirt was given to him by Stan Lee.
Oh, very cool. And I saw that you had a little.
He may have made up the last part, but I gave him the shirt. That is true.
Okay. I was going to ask, like, was there a story behind that, or?
It could very well be true. What's that?
Was there a story behind that? Because I know that you have a connection to Stan Lee.
So, yeah, the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie, when that came out.
2002.
You see, that's why you need him. When that movie came out, we had done some things around Spider-Man, and I had become very close to Stan and went to his the premiere of Spider-Man, where they had all sorts of gifts that they gave away, which is why I think you're thinking Stan Lee gave it to me. And then I had it when I first met Shamim. I'm sitting there, and he shows me the poster for the first time in person. He has this amazing poster, comic movie poster. And I'm like, this is cool, sign it. And next thing I know, I can't like help but give him things. Like there's something about him. It's like, well, I'll get you that. I'll put that in a package and I'll get you that. And he always appreciates things. Anyway, I know this isn't about him.
The autograph king. Yeah, we've had him on the show as a subject. So yeah. In fact, Shamim
he's a top dog, though, definitely.
He's our talent coordinator. So he's really useful on this show. Thank you, Shamim. This interview was made possible. We met through him, so I'm really grateful.
This show is sponsored by Shamim.
Sponsored by Shamim, yeah. Actually, I was curious about asking about Stan Lee, because you said that you got to know him pretty well.
Yeah, I worked with him a couple times. We came pretty close.
How'd you get to meeting him?
I was doing a show called Grape Jam at the time, and we had a friend in common, Nat Siegeloff, who said, "Oh, you should meet Stan. He doesn't understand this internet thing yet." So he came over, and we kind of showed him how to use the web for the first time. I even have photos of him with us. And Shamim, I almost I don't want to say that out loud because now you're going to bother me. But we just hit it off, and I was a comic book fan for sure, and I was a fan of Spider-Man in particular. But to be able to hang out with the guy and realize that he's just another regular insecure guy, just like the rest of us artists. He looks at it and says, "I know my story's all over the place, but now you got me in reminiscing mode."
Oh, reminisce away, please.
But in 4 years, he basically said, all the characters from the Marvel Universe he created in 4 years, right? And then all the characters like Wolverine and characters that came later were obviously amazing add-ons. But it's interesting because that whole it's not. It's such a short period of time to look at what it's become. And he knew it was becoming that because he went from kind of being, oh yeah, Stan Lee, he's great, we want to sign autographs, to, holy man, that's Stan Lee, the guy in the cameos all the time. He created Spider-Man and Avengers. So I was very happy that he got to enjoy being celebrated for that, because he was the real deal. And he really was. Very interesting man. I now talked everywhere except for the answer to the question. So your turn. Back to you, Ron.
Do you have a favorite memory with him? Because you mentioned the internet, but do you have a favorite memory specifically with him?
Let's see. Well, maybe I'll have a tidbit one. My son was 5 years old.
Time when you first shown Stan the internet.
Yeah, I told you that.
Let him tell this story though.
Yeah, no, that's there is more of a story, but that's not like a tidbit. Like for the sake of the show, I was going to give you just a fun little tidbit. Okay. In having dinner with Stan, what did you dislike about the first Spider-Man? He said, which things did you disappointed you? And he said, well, honestly, there were two things. Do you guys in Ronnie's audience know what those two things are? What were those two things? Stan thought could have been better and was disappointed by. It was
Green Goblin.
Goblin.
What about the Goblin?
The helmet.
Yes. And so he's now been vindicated in the new Spider-Man movie, so she's psyched about that. And then the other thing that bugged him was the fluid coming out of the wrist.
The webs.
And he had said to me that when he was at one point, they were developing the film with Leonardo DiCaprio to star as Spider-Man years ago with James Avatar.
James Cameron, yeah.
Right. And they came up with an idea how the science of it works, so that he was thinking about this fluid, and since the spider bit him, it enhanced his ability to figure it out. So it based it in something. But I know that they did not want to do that. They're like, if major corporations, engineering corporations can't do this, how can this kid? So anyhow, so those are the two things he didn't like, and they took care of both of them in the new Spider-Man. So I think he'd be very happy about that.
I noticed that. Like, I was just thinking about that. They addressed it, one can and the other two can't. So right. I don't know if he was alive for them putting that into.
I would say likely not. I would say that if it was at the very end.
Yeah, Marvel movies take years, so I can only hope that maybe he knew. Who knows?
You know what? Honestly, I don't feel bad for Stan Lee. You got to see plenty.
He was incredible.
He was an absolute blessing to geeks everywhere, to fans of literature everywhere. Really cool guy.
Our voice. He was our voice.
He was a big part of the American Voice Act, which is being proven in our echoes when we forgot that you can also make real movies.
Yeah.
Don't get me started.
So actually, we were talking a little bit about the internet and how, and its beginnings. You helped create the first web series. Where did that start? I'm curious with The Spot.
The Spot, 1995.
Mm-hmm.
I was
October 7th, 1995.
Well, that's one way. So I was working in an ad agency with the team and my partner, Troy Bolotnick, and we were doing some of the early interactive tests for, like, you're using your television to order food from and to find out what's playing in the theater near you, those kind of early interactive tests for interactive TV. And I was intrigued by the internet, saying, well, why wouldn't you just put all that interactivity on this thing that already exists? Mm-hmm. And the very first thought I had was, oh my God, we should sell stuff here. And unfortunately, I went the other way. I went to the, oh my gosh, we should try and build a business on the entertainment ground, and a business that didn't exist before, and somehow continues to be stomped on by those who. Okay, sorry. I forgot I was on camera.
Was there a specific moment where you're like, I could create a TV show, and because the internet was limitless, like nobody really knew what they were doing yet back then.
I was looking through. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No problem.
I was looking through some of these conventions, and I saw things that were named like nothing, .com or whatever the brand was. I'm like, why don't they just say The Spot? It's just the one place. And then I had literally gone to sleep a few weeks later thinking about this idea, and woke up in the middle of the night and wrote down this idea for people who live in an interactive beach house in Santa Monica, and called The Spot. And each one of them is their own room, and each room has their own page, and each one of them tells their story from their perspective. And it was so much fun. I can't even tell you. It was. I really wish we had the systems to be able to build entertainment like that. It was so much fun. It was so much fun for the audience.
Because they could interact, and for those watching not knowing really what The Spot is, because gosh, that was a while ago. It was an interactive show. Did you want to talk a little bit about what The Spot even was?
Yeah, it's a story of people in a beach house in California, and they had a front page on the internet called thespot.com, and they had their menu, so you could read about each character from the character's point of view. You could see photography. It had a whole environment, so when you went to The Spot, you had a real interactive experience with the characters, because you got to see what was happening in real time. I remember when Jerry Garcia died, we stopped what we were doing and made sure we talked about Jerry Garcia, and that was part of the show. So we were constantly doing things in real time. It was like, we spoke to the people who were doing road rules at the time, and they're like, why can't you make it more like The Spot? And it's like, because we don't shoot at the same time. We were doing the show at the same time. And at the same time, Shamim could write in and say something like, hey, Scott, I really think you should, well, not Scott, hey, Lon, I really think you should kick the dog in the head. By the way, I love dogs. I would never say such a thing. But Lon said, at that point, that Shamim might come into the story. Shamim told me this. Shamim's, I changed my mind on this. So you could bring the audience, and sometimes we brought the audience any way we could. So we used the phone, we used little QuickTime downloads. So you could get 12 seconds of a sound effect. Really, it was very little. But I also shot a ton of video, which I was never able to use because they didn't have these. And we just stacked it up, because that's how I would have done the show. It would have been in video. And things would be so different now. Do you feel like something like that would prosper today's world, or do you think it would be very different?
FaceTime.
Oh yeah, no, it's all about, it's taking whatever the tools are out there and finding ways to make them entertainment. There have been projects that have done that. What was that show, Friend Me or something? With a movie, you know what I'm talking about?
Friend Me, yeah, I've heard of it. I didn't see it.
Yeah, where they're on screen and they're using social media differently, or American Vandal. I mean, that's the stuff that shows you, where it could be going, and the understanding of mediums.
It feels a little bit Big Brother. Did you ever feel like that you may have inspired that?
Yeah, no, I think that was George Orwell, probably. We are all Big Brothered, right? I mean, we're all under something. So it was. My stuff was fake, though.
I meant like the TV show, because the TV show sort of does that. Where
I did do a reality show called Kill Reality.
Really?
Which was on E. And it was about reality stars from Real World and Road Rules and Survivor and Big Brother, all doing a movie that we were also making, which is a bad idea, by the way. Don't do that. Don't do that. So ultimately what we do is we put up a fishbowl and we put them into it, and then we contrive it. We do things to make them do things, or you do manipulate it a little bit. But reality shows are cool. Very cool. I guess I would like to see them done more like so much of the rest of the art out there. You can see in almost every art form that until we had the TikTok kind of platforms, YouTube kind of platforms, that you didn't realize how many freaking talented people are there in the world. You know,
Exactly.
we can get into that. We can get into Quibi. That's for another show.
Quibi, yeah. And of course, what's coming out now, which is your Rem Lezar, or being re-released anyway.
Yes.
That was that a long project for you, or was that just sort of like, let's go do this sort of thing?
Well, the project started 37 years ago.
Well, yeah, I mean.
So yes, I would say it was probably my longest project.
Okay, sorry. Let me rephrase that. Was that did you take a long time planning that, and it slowly
Which part? The movie back in
the movie? The movie.
Oh, when we made the movie, we were just kids.
The
We had a video company. You got to get the tell your friends that they should go order the DVD that just came out. Actually, it's called a Blu-ray now. I wasn't aware this change happened. I thought we were still calling them 8-tracks.
Yeah. Oh gosh. It's funny. I know I've never seen an 8-track in my life, but yes, I totally understand that, because I remember the move from VHS to DVD, and now I'm sort of like, what's Blu-ray?
Right, and then it's going to be the next level.
Right, they're just going to put it in our heads eventually, probably.
It would save a lot of time.
It would. I guess one of the billionaires, I can't remember which one it is, wants to do something dermal under the skin where we can just order it on Amazon and it'll get sent to our brains or something.
Oh, I thought we were talking about like the apocalypse.
Oh yeah, it probably is. It probably is the apocalypse at this point. No, they want to be able to send a video to our heads, and we can watch a video personally through our brain.
By the way, you're not the first person to say it. You're not the first person to say it today. It's still a great idea. Go do it.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not so sure I like that. I mean, do you? Is that something
you can make the bucks?
But can you control what is seen through your brain once they have that sort of control?
No. Of course not.
It's scary. That is scary.
There's nothing we could do about it anyway.
Right. But
the singularity will play it out in the same way 9-2K did or not. What was that? Y2K?
Mm-hmm.
You know, everyone thought all the planes were going to fall out of the sky because of the year 1999 to 2000. Everything was going to go crazy and all that, and then nothing happened. So
they couldn't handle the computer language or something. I remember that people were freaking out, sort of.
They were.
So when you released Rem Lezar, was that a DVD, a limited DVD, or not DVD? Sorry, I'm very stuck in 2000s. Limited VHS release, or what was that release on?
It is a deluxe, up-res version. So we went back to the original. It was shot on film. Then once the film was transferred to video, we cut the rest in video. And this way, it looks like film, just like any other TV show would look on film. But it was in standard definition as opposed to HD. Therefore, we had to. It already looked like crap. Like it's a phenomenon online, but it's copies and copies and copies of the videos. And some of the comments are terribly and snarky, and some of them are beloved, and some people live for the movie. It's a very strange phenomenon. It's the oldest thing I ever did. Anyway, you asked the question. I went off track.
What was the inspiration? Well, I was asking kind of when you originally released the movie, did that show in theaters? Because okay.
So I'll try and be a little more linear for you. So when we first released the movie, we thought we were going to sell it internationally. It turned out not to be the right format, etc. But Blockbuster and the video stores were pretty new, and they didn't have anything really for children. This was before the Disney deal. So me and my partner, the brilliant, Mark Millet, my musical composer. And I don't say that very often, by the way. Tell him, Shameen. Tell her.
Wait a second. Blockbuster started October
I knew he was gonna.
5. So that means your film would have been in the kids section starting 88, 89, most likely, right?
Yeah. All right, man.
He, he's a wealth of information for dates.
He is.
This is why I keep him around.
He is.
So for actually Sandy said when she went to, she's the general manager of the last Blockbuster. She said when she was when Blockbuster was a actual still going, she actually saw a few copies of Rem in Blockbuster back in like 88, 89 on VHS.
Yeah, and there was probably about 12,000 released, of which I know one guy was 3 of them, and then there's like a couple of people. We did a screening in New York, two sold out shows, by the way, of the movie where we debuted the Blu-ray. And there were a couple of people who had a sign. One guy had us in the Blockbuster case, right, on top of what they got it from Rem Lezar, and then other people, had different versions. But they were. One of the guys said, "Yeah, he was the guy who just bought it for $350." I said, "Okay, I'll give you $500 in cash right now." And he's like, "I'll be keeping it." I was like, "Cool."
So
I wouldn't have done it, by the way.
There was Hollywood Video and Blockbuster as well.
Yes.
So who got the copies first, Blockbuster or Hollywood Video?
The first copies were probably the mom and pops.
Yeah.
And a lot of those mom and pops actually blended into over the years. They kept going into Blockbuster's black hole.
Oh.
But so the idea there was somehow this little movie, I forget about it. It gets that good release. A lot throughout the years, hear little people, "Oh, I watched this all the time when I was a kid." All of a sudden, we see stuff coming online. Some of it really snarky, and some of it pretty cool. And lately, it's been people really getting in and appreciating the movie. And it's been a few different wonderful players who picked up on us. VCR Party was one, and we did the screening with them. And then there was Red Letter Media, who does the show Best of the Worst, who are friggin' hilarious on this and really did us a service. And the third one was who really, really helped us was Vinny Vinesauce. And there's a bunch of other people. I don't know if you know Vinny Vinesauce. He's a streamer. He is hilarious, and he is very dedicated to Rem Lezar. So, we love anybody. Did you ever hear the song, Ronnie?
Yeah, I heard the song.
You play the song. I want to see if you cannot dance.
Oh, probably not.
I want to see if you can avoid singing to it. Come on.
Well, the show wouldn't play the song. You're
gonna let the law get in your way?
Yeah, I'm worried about getting muted. Is what I'm worried about. we can accidentally get muted on this show for playing copyrighted anything, and then the show gets shut off.
What if I sing like copyrighted music? Is it that deep?
Yeah, if you sing copyrighted music, and if I play copyrighted music, it tends to get shut off on YouTube.
Okay, Shameen, Beach Boys, now go.
So Scott, do you think Mark would love to see a video on the song for Rem Lezar?
Do I think Mark?
No, my friend Brian Blackmore is a TikTok who creates nostalgia making of videos.
Yeah.
Do you think Mark would love to see a video on the making of Rem Lezar's soundtrack? So if you saw Brian Blackmore's latest video, it was 8675309. Jenny.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So I was thinking, which song would you say would be a good song to do? Like the produce. What did the produce? So you
Do you
told
want it to, are you asking what is the key song that if it was going to do a version of cover?
yes, no, I mean, in your, let's say if you made Brian made a video,
Yeah.
and having you, the director, tell Mark how to make the song. Let's say
Yeah,
if
this is,
you, yeah,
we'll talk about this when the show's not going on.
yeah.
Unless
Yeah.
people are interested in this. I mean, by all means, we'll talk about how we fill out forms.
So actually, Shamim, you said that you had a few questions that you wanted to ask him. Actually, one more. I'll ask you one more question about Rem Lezar. Was there any particular inspiration? Because like people don't just go,
Yeah.
"I want to make a children's film." Was there? What was the process behind
We
that?
thought that we could sell it.
Okay.
And but the reality is that that's the stuff that comes right out of me. It's just a pure sweet thing. And, that is why it's sort of lived, even though I didn't have kids, I didn't know anything about what, I didn't know whether a kid listened to, the Beatles or the Yellow Submarine. But
They all live.
Shut us down.
Yeah, we're gonna get in trouble.
Yeah.
You had
What?
Shamim, you had a question that you wanted to ask him.
Oh yeah. So Scott, for your company that you came up with Peter and Rich, who originally came up with the idea of the whole business outline, and then what did you learn from your experience with creative like media? And if you could do it again today in 20,
Yeah.
what?
Well, if we had like 3 hours, we could probably do a book recording.
Yeah, right.
I had that business for 7 years, and there were so many. I mean, go on and on. But I can tell you is that Peter and Rich were awesome. Awesome guys. Peter's doing very well in his entertainment business, and Rich is doing very well in recruitment and what's it called, corporate. Something cool where you have to ask them because they got good ideas. And that's Rich's
manager.
What's that?
So,
that company was Creative Light. We made Comic Book the Movie, Mind Meld with Shatner, Splat Attack, also with Shatner, Super Day with Catherine Reitman.
So Scott, story with Adam West. That one trying to tell.
I'm not telling that story.
Not that story.
No, man. I have like 3 stories. I got to save something.
Okay, let's do about the comic book, the movie. So Mark originally asked you to do the movie, or was it you who went to Mark for that movie?
Yes. No. I had a video business, and Mark and I were in theater class in college together, and then saw each other a few years later. But no, I was the filmmaker, and Mark was a musician. So I went after Mark and said, "Hey."
I heard from Lori Allen about something that happened on the floor of San Diego Comic-Con when you guys were filming. She said something about in the words of she and Billy West did something on the and she said she was talking about how Mark did a really good job up to the point when people were talking, and they realized that they couldn't keep it a secret anymore. And then she said something about she like made out with Billy West when you guys were filming. What was that story? I want to hear that.
So just Lori Allen, one of the stars of Comic Book the Movie, also the whale character in SpongeBob. She's huge career, actually. She does all sorts of things. Billy West being probably the biggest genius in all of voice artists, who does most of the voices in Futurama. He does Ren and Stimpy. He does both. I mean, just crazy. Where it comes from, I have no idea. Those were the people she's talking about. So these are the top voice talent who are also really, really brilliantly funny on camera. I gotta say, I don't know where some of this stuff comes out with Jess Harnell, and of course Mark Hamill. Talent was unbelievable.
Wow. So you worked with Mark Hamill as well?
That was Comic Book the Movie.
That's right.
Yeah,
wow.
Comic Book the Movie was a movie I started with a few Billy West and Roger Rose,
Jess Harnell,
and Eric Middleman, of course. Yeah, that movie, we're going to potentially have to look at it. Its 20-year anniversary is in the week. And
Wow.
where do you see the Rem thing? You're going to be...
Rem Lezar, yeah.
If you're a fan of Rem Lezar, you're going to love this. If you're not a fan of Rem Lezar, give it a shot.
I was just saying, I remembered seeing it, but you know, when you're a little kid, like everything goes over your head, like you remember what it looked like, but don't ask me what happened, sort of thing.
Right.
But I can't wait to see it because it'll.
So it's about these three farmhands who live on a farm, and there's a little girl who has a dog who's seeing shit. Oh, it's the same movie. We just ripped it off. Didn't you say what was inspired?
What was it inspired by? Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
No, it was inspired by a lot of things. There's some Wizard of Oz for sure. And there's a scene where he says, "Happy," where he says, "Good morning." It was ripped off of Frosty the Snowman line when he says, "Happy birthday." I just admitted that at a screening, and people got mad at me.
Oh no! Why would they get mad though?
I'm just trying to create controversy. We need some drama.
Imitation is the best form of flattery, right?
That's another full show, I think. Just that.
What has been some of your favorite projects to work on?
It changed through the years.
Mm-hmm.
As of today, Scott, as we talk.
I know it's hard to choose.
I would say no. I mean, I could tell you the ones I don't like easily. I won't. No, like I think the things we did with Sid Caesar, which was taking actually restoring your show of shows. Probably we'd use another one now, but and getting them out there. And we interviewed all the original writers from that show. Sid Caesar show of shows was like the Saturday Night Live of the 50s. And the writers were Mel Brooks and Carl Reiner and Larry Gelbart, who did MASH, and on and on. Unbelievable talent. And Woody Allen, and we got a chance to do a Showtime special with them. And it was just really special to know that these jewels, your show of shows, these absolute pearls that have, are still here because of the work we did. And I'm very proud of that. And I'm very proud of being able to give Sid his just and his due and his feeling of that, he did something special, and let him know that.
Mel Brooks, is there any stories that you want to tell about him? Because I'm a gigantic fan.
I mean, once my wife and I were coming out of a yogurt place, and they were sitting on our chair, him and Anne Bancroft. That's, I mean, no, he is, that is true, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, we pushed him down off the chair because we knew we could take him in a rumble. Come on, Anne Bancroft.
Oh boy. Is anything? What was stuck out about working with him?
Sid?
Oh no, I said Mel Brooks.
Oh, it's that. Yeah. Well, one thing that happened was I did this thing called Entertainment Asylum. It was for AOL. We did again what I think would have been a really cool network, but sometimes you get there a little late, sometimes a little early. Mm-hmm. Lucky you get there right on time. Mm-hmm. This was a case of people being there right on time and being afraid of it. That's a much broader story about AOL and the history of media. But the question you asked me, we had this booth where we would interview celebrities. It's called Entertainment Asylum. So celebrities would come in, whoever was on the new shows, and sometimes big movie stars, various others. I had Stan on there more than once. And we did it we took this little, it was a large radio station that we turned into a little TV station. Basically, do you know the 20-year-old, the 8,000-year-old man?
Mm-hmm.
So Carl Reiner and Mel Brooks did that together, and they were coming there to do our show and do our questions and answers, etc. And they're like, well, you got to have an audience. Well, it's like, yes, but how do you do humor without laughter? So they came in and asked me what we should do, and we loaded about 30 people into the area and sat down, and they were so right. The energy suddenly changed dramatically, and they were great. They were best of friends, Carl Reiner and Mel Brooks, to the end.
Wow.
They saw each other every week. They'd cook together. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to make a mistake in the detail, and people are like, no, you didn't get that right. And then all of a sudden I'm Twitter canceled. What do I do? Because I didn't get Mel Brooks properly.
Yeah. How often did you get to see him or work with him?
You mean specifically Mel Brooks?
Mm-hmm.
Including the time on the car? No, twice. Once at Entertainment Asylum during that, and once when we were doing the Sid Caesar videos. So twice, and he's a character and a half. There's no question.
Oh yeah.
But you'd love him. Don't get me wrong. I can't speak. I could speak more to Carl Reiner, who I knew very well, and was the nicest of all of them. But I do not have that kind of experience with Mel that I could give you anything fun. And I'm not going to give you the Adam West story. Sorry, Shamim.
Well, what about about Carl Reiner? Is there any stories that stick out for that one? For him?
Yeah, so a couple of them do, but this is probably when he was 90 something. And he always recognized me, even though I've only known him, 3 or 4 times over the 30 some odd years, but it was always, hey, how's it going? Was doing this spot thing, and he'd write it down, remembered it the next time. He was known for that, by the way. That wasn't just me. And we were hanging out where his grandkid and my son went to school for something, and I realized that my son's favorite movie is The Jerk. So I called him over. It was like 7 or something like that. And I'm like, do you know what movie this man created? I'm like, what's your favorite movie? And he says, The Jerk. And he's, yes. So Carl's like, so what was the name of the dog? And my son looks up at me like, is he allowed to say it? And he goes, yeah, of course. That dog's a shithead. That's right.
Yeah.
Lovely guy. Honestly, I can't say, oh boy, I'm friends with him, but every time I've gotten the opportunity to be around him or work with him, there's very few. Adam West happens to be one of my other favorites, but that's something I'm not doing that and giving Shamim any feeling of vindication.
Just on the show, I try to get more human, because we often forget that celebrities are humans. They have lived a day to day. They have friends. They have family. And so often on Nerdlism, I try to bring in to remind people that these people have lives. They're interesting characters outside of what they do.
Everybody, good, bad, or evil, is across every. Although no one's evil, but that's another story.
Gosh, Ocean's 11, Ocean's 12. He was incredible. And
my favorite were Oceans 15, 16, and 17.
Oceans 93.
Don't be crazy.
I feel like we're going to get there one day.
Yeah.
So, okay. Shamim, did you have any of you gave me a couple questions, Shamim, that you wanted to ask him.
Yeah.
Did you want to ask him a couple of those?
Yes.
Are we nearish the end, or is the
we're nearing a little bit towards the end.
Okay, so
we can go as long as we want, though.
I just want to make sure that you have some place where people can go look at Rem Lezar.
Yes, and we'll I tend to ask you about your
Yeah, but then
plugs.
then people are going, oh my God, this thing's going to show. I have my dinner on the table. I got to deal with it anyway. My mom's called. If I don't call her back, she'll start freaking out. That kind of stuff happens.
We'll talk about that actually real quick because
I know that for a fact.
Rem has a documentary that I almost forgot to ask you about. Rem has a documentary coming out, and then we'll move on to his questions.
I'm actually proud of Shamin.
Yeah,
he's cool. He's chill. He's hanging back and doing his role.
I think he's trying to hear her too because he's going back and forth.
Got
it. So you have a documentary coming out. Is that going to be released in a theater, or how is that working out?
No, so that is part of the Blu-ray.
Okay,
so we went and I just found a lot of old footage. I was talking about at the beginning of the show. I found footage that from when we were shooting and behind the scenes, and we were able to do. We spent a lot of time getting a lot of the original art. A lot of time really became a labor of love, because otherwise I should find another business. But it really does put you back in time, and it makes you realize that some of the things that we looked at, we laughed at, now more important than ever. A lot of the documentary tries to, because the thing I'm just happy about is it's so simple. It's so, love is beautiful. Imagination has no ends. Most of all, I believe in me. Believe in yourself, and you can do anything. I mean, these are the kind of lines that are in the songs and in the script because they are just basic truths. They're basic, simple truths. Sometimes as a filmmaker, as a kid filmmaker, I got carried away with that. Instead of making a movie of something that what I knew. Okay, I could have easily made a movie about who went to college. I was just out of it. But I made a movie about little kids, and even though I was a little kid, I didn't realize what it was like to be a parent at that point. Does that make sense?
Yeah, not yet. And I do remember the kids are wandering around with this mannequin. Yes. What was that? What was that like?
One of the things I get made fun of the most is the mannequin, and it is kind of stupid looking. Don't get me wrong. That whole scene is terrible, and the kids were the worst they've been in the scene. With some scenes they were terrific, but when I had them up late at night and I wasn't, there they were supposed to stand over a doll and sell it to us. It was just not. It is just not my remembering that I'm working with young actors.
Would you still
myself up over a movie I made 35 years ago? I'm starting to get mad at me.
I think every director needs to, though, right? Everyone needs to have that one thing, oh no.
Are you supposed to do it while you're on somebody's show, though?
Oh no! Please don't be. Please don't.
Why not? Let's let all hang out.
But would you do anything different with the mannequin, or would you still? Is there something different you would do about that?
Oh yeah, if I remade the movie, it would be obviously. But I'm more interested in doing a Rem Lezar 2 than remaking.
Ooh.
And and Jack Mulcahy, we're like, well, he's too old to play Rem Lezar, but Jack's this still a hunky guy. His hair is thinner and all that. But hey, Michael Keaton's getting into a Batman costume. Compared to that, Jack looks way too young to play Rem. So that's where my head goes to. And I think that what the balance is of camp and realizing what it is, like even the Brady Bunch movie. I don't know if you remember, it just played completely into the satire and the parody of it, where other things try and take a realistic approach. But I think that it could be something really special, honestly. This little thing, I couldn't keep it buried.
I have to ask, where did you get that mannequin? Was it just something that you acquired? Not to harp on the mannequin too much, but
when you're the director, you basically say to the art people, "Go get me stuff." And then they came back with the mannequin, and I'm like, what else? I don't know. How else do you build a friend? You make him out of clay and then let him grow? That could have been a good one, actually, based on the fact that we already had the clay. Crap, why didn't I do that?
Right?
Why didn't I do that?
That would be a little tulpa, though. I don't know how much you know about Jewish lore. Wouldn't that be a little too tulpa-ish?
What's topa-ish? What's topa-ish?
There's a Jewish lore about making a man out of clay, and it's supposed to do whatever you want it to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's a golem. It's a golem. I've heard of different words. Golem.
Yes. It's in a big case, like so much. It was in Cavalier and Clay. How's that for a reference?
Right. So, Shamim's silent. Sorry, Shamim.
It's okay.
You were reverbing, so I silenced you for a minute. Okay, so as for your DVD, so I'll ask you, where do people order the DVD if they want to see it?
From your clubhouse, from the Rem Lezar clubhouse Facebook page.
That's one way.
The one that's
the camera at the thing. How's that for a message?
We're looking at your ear. We're looking at your ear, Shamim.
We just put a link in the chat, isn't it?
Okay.
We'll put a link.
Go ahead and Shamim, can you put a link in for me?
Okay, let me go grab it.
That's my assistant right there.
So yeah, so cool, man. What else? Tell me about you.
Oh gosh, not me.
What's your favorite movie? Ronnie, what's your favorite movie?
Princess Bride. That's why I'm saying. Mel Brooks is one of my favorites.
And the Rob Reiner. Yeah. Okay, what's your second favorite movie?
I don't know. I don't think I have a favorite. What's your favorite movie? What inspires you as far as?
It's called deflection. I asked you a question, and rather than answer it, you decided to put it back to me.
I don't think I have a second favorite movie.
Just say one.
Anything Tim Burton. Pretty much anything Tim Burton.
Okay, narrowing it down. Tim Burton does what?
Tim Burton directs.
Do you know what? But does he make? Is he Batman period? Is it Beetlejuice kind of thing? What's your vibe? What's your feeling?
I'm not that picky. Anything pretty much Johnny Depp.
Anything?
Anything Johnny Depp. In fact, my wedding was Johnny Depp. And Tim Burton-ish. We did a weird amalgamation of any Johnny Depp and Tim Burton-ish stuff, like my flowers to my dress. Hi, Shamim. Did you?
Oh, hi. So I heard stuff about Tim Burton and Johnny Depp.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would say besides Pirates, I kind of enjoyed Depp's take on Willy Wonka. I don't know why. Just the suit, the trench coat, and I enjoyed Depp in his band that he's in. I think he's in a band. Him with Alice Cooper, him and Joe Perry from Aerosmith.
You're not supposed to just list all your favorite.
What sort of movies inspire your work, though? I'm curious.
Some things like The Graduate. That's why I mentioned that before. Like thinking where the comedy comes out of real life. Mm-hmm. But I'm also like my favorite Tim Burton movie is Ed Wood. Partially because I am him.
Ooh.
You know, it's like, what do you mean? Because Ed Wood, you know, I mean, there are definitely movies where people, including Rem Lezar, where people are like, this is a little bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a crime to be bizarre, convict me.
What sort of genres were you? Because I know you said you went to film school.
I went to film school, to theater school, and yes.
Wow, incredible. so coming out of film school, because like I know everybody's got that I watched it over and over kind of thing.
Right.
What was yours?
Rocky. Superman the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Superman the movie is, in my opinion, I don't know what your audience gets, what kind of nerdy things you get into, but in my opinion, Superman the movie is the closest thing we ever had to a real superhero movie.
Wow.
That's how I feel about it. Although I do like some of the Spider-Man movies and Thor Ragnarok and all that, but the gravitas that Superman the movie had, that we don't get that anymore.
I'm was going to like even avoid the question because we were talking about Stan Lee, but are you more DC or more Marvel?
Growing up, I was more DC. Now I don't know whether to be. I like a few of the Marvel films. Most of them I can't watch.
Really?
But my favorite character was Superman. But in light of day, it's Spider-Man is right there.
So are you is other than Superman? Or, sorry, other than Spider-Man, are there any other Marvel characters that you like, dislike?
I like the way some of the actors I think are pretty fun. It seems like a pretty joyous cast, so I do like. I like the Chris's. I'm all for all the Chris's.
Did you ever get a chance to meet any of those guys?
I wasn't doing things in those days.
Okay.
No, I'm sure they seem like fine young men though. And it's always funny watching them behind the scenes. It's like, well, where are they on the scenes? Here they are live on the set. It's a bunch of green boxes for them to jump around on.
They weren't doing a lot of the green screen yet when you were getting started, were they?
Well, my character, when I did, you mean back 35 years ago?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
No, so yes, there was blue screen mostly for movies, like things before green. Green became more popular once it was video. Long story, not necessary. And so when I did Vorok, I took a black, which Vorok was the bad guy in Rem Lezar.
Mm-hmm.
We were supposed to be an animated character, and the people who were animating it dropped the ball on us. So we had to come up with something, and I was like, okay. And I tell the story on the DVD, on the Blu-ray, where I was looking into, waiting at the editing facility, and there was the reception desk, and had a strip of metal, and I'm moving around, and I'm looking at my face like a funhouse mirror. And I'm like, well, I know we can move things around. So I went into with the camera myself on a video camera, put a black hood over. Did the character of Vorok, actually put a little makeup on, did the character of Vorok in like 3 hours. And then just took out everything that was black. So in a sense, I did black screen.
Black screen.
It basically is just removing whatever the solid color is. And I don't know why. I'm not good at technology as it is. So today I can't even begin to understand digital. It makes no sense.
Well, you come from the cutting actual, and not many people do this anymore. Cutting the actual.
I cut film on a flatbed.
Yeah.
It's hard at being only 30 years myself, having been back there when hey, Shamin, don't give me that look. I saw that snicks up there.
I remember in film school they were talking to us about cutting on flatbeds, but and I think there's like one class where they showed us how to do it, and then they were like, okay, but get back to, because it was 2008. They're like, okay, but get back to doing the digital editing on a film. We were just coming out of using the little cassette tapes on the very expensive cameras.
The Sony Betacams.
Mm-hmm. They were starting to go over to Reds around that time.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And then we finally went digital. But the 1-inch I was working on was supposedly digital. But when they cloned it separately. Anyway, your show isn't techie though, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, well, I do have people, and I'm surprised that my chat's surprisingly quiet.
Yeah, I kind of feel a little badly about that.
They're so enamored. They're so enamored. No, actually, it's a different day. So most of my people will probably be watching after the fact. because I normally do. It is Thursday, and I normally go live on Saturdays. So a lot of my people are probably pretty quiet because they're like, "Yeah, no, I'm at work right now."
Well, if you are there and you are work, it's lovely to feel you, lovely to hear you. If you're not there, that's okay. It's kind of an existential thing. You know, is the cat dead in the box, or you get it?
We're pretty much. Shimeen, did you want to ask?
Oh
'Cause
yeah.
you-
So Scott, if you were to create, since the new Weird Al biofilm is coming out November 4th, if you could create any film on any musician or actor,
Make a
actress,
movie about somebody, you mean?
make who would be a dream cast and dream production crew to
You.
make this film? Like, for example, Weird Al picked Daniel Radcliffe as himself,
He's about half
Rainn
his size.
Wilson as Dr.
hang on,
Mento.
Shimeen, let him
Go
answer.
ahead.
So if I were going to make a movie about anyone, it might be, if it was historical, I could see doing a Marx Brothers movie. Although it may be a little tough to do something like that because people know it so well, so they just seem like imitations. But my other idea was the story of the first Hollywood scandal is the Fatty Arbuckle scandal. And this was back in the 20s. And you're dealing with basically Fatty Arbuckle was right there with Buster Keaton and Harold Lloyd and Charlie Chaplin. And he was found in a scandal with a bad things that I don't want to say on here happening, and a murder was involved. Anyway,
by all means, we can cuss on this show. You can say whatever you want. I've had so many potty mouths on the show.
Yeah, but I just what?
I said, all right, no problem.
So yeah, because it offends me.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. Fuck that. No.
So Scott, would you cast? You seen Chaplin with Robert Downey Jr.?
Yes.
Do you think? Would you?
I think that he did a reasonably good job, but I always thought of him as Robert Downey Jr. I would have liked to have seen an unknown actor who could really become the character.
Okay, so in your dream film with the Hollywood scandal, who would you cast as those characters?
Right. So the one that actually blew my mind was Andrew Garfield recently.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if he could play a Chaplin, because Chaplin will be a character in it, as will other people, Buster Keaton, things like that.
Okay, so for Buster Keaton, who would you cast as him in your film?
You. I don't know. I'm just. Well, no, I'll play Buster Keaton. No, you got it. So it has to be somebody. You know who would have been good is Michael J. Fox back when. He would have been the guy to play in that era. So it'd have to be somebody who is, most of those guys were acrobatics, but very small. And
what about
why Daniel Radcliffe would probably be better for this movie? Oh, and you could never ever do wrong by. I was going to say Neil Patrick Harris, but now I think about it.
Right. Well, I mean, he is all over the scene right now. He's got his own Netflix show. Did you know that?
I've seen it. It's good. Now he's one of those once in a lifetime kind of talents, no question.
Oh, I fell in love with him the minute I watched How I Met Your Mother. He will always be Barney to me.
I still have to refrain from calling him Doogie.
Doogie, yeah. I had so many people refer to him as Doogie, and I remember watching him as Doogie, but during college I was watching How I Met Your Mother while I was doing homework, and like I think he premiered as a truly funny person when he did, and we haven't really seen him since until this Netflix series, which is sort of a little interesting.
He was in something else. He was in a terrible part for that Nicolas Cage movie.
Oh yeah.
What was it called? Actually, I half liked it and half thought it was a waste. But you know what I'm talking about?
I'm trying to remember.
Nicolas Cage or something, The Unbearable Weight of Awesome Talent or something like that. He plays, Nicolas Cage plays himself, and he has to basically go make cheap movies in order to.
And I know he was doing stage plays for a while. He was doing Hedwig and the Angry Inch, which he was incredible in.
Right.
He's showbiz. He's all over the musicals. He's great.
Yeah.
So
actually, I mentioned Andrew Garfield, but I got to tell you, the kid he's got a great Buster Keaton face. A great old movie, the kid Spider-Man, the little one, the little Spider-Man, Spidey Jr. What's his name?
Oh, the youngest one, the newest one, Tom Holland. Yeah.
And that's a talented kid. He was talented when he was a kid.
Oh yeah, he's done all sorts of he did some lip syncing show and did a Frank Sinatra rendition, which was really although he also turned into Rihanna after.
Did he? Well, the funny thing, for years it's like, why are all the British people playing all of our superheroes? Right? It's like we have great American icons like Superman and Batman, and Superman's a Brit and Batman's a Brit, and Commissioner Gordon's a Brit.
Doctor Strange is a Brit.
Doctor Strange is a Brit. What's his name? The Alfreds are the Commissioner Gordon, Gary Oldman. I mean, it's just there's no way in for a young American soldier until this, and Hemsworth was what, Australian?
Yeah, Hemsworth is Australian. The Loki actor is English. Yeah, they're all British, aren't they? All of them.
I liked Loki. That was one of the few shows. I thought it was flawed as hell, but as if they care.
So.
But wait, Shamim in with the Shamim Minute. Go.
So Veronica, it's almost an hour right now.
Yes.
So anyway,
I got nothing going on. We're going on for hours.
So Scott, can you describe a day in the life of yourself? How would that a typical day in your life today? Which is like,
so I wake up, I debate whether I should brush my teeth. I go down, I look for Shamim's messages on Facebook. And then when I see one there, I'll check text, which it usually is also. Followed by, then I'll start looking at a bunch of pictures about whose anniversary it is on a given day. So, and by then I'm ready for dinner and it's time to go watch TV and do this.
And so, what would you get? I saw in this interview you did in 2003. It talked about your dreams and goals for your Macy and Caleb. How has that changed since?
What did I say?
You said you would want them to be successful, bright, smart, independent, and but this was when you were turning 40, Scott, in 2003. Yeah. I don't know how that has changed now.
It's a great question. I mean, it's a very interesting question. I'd love to see that quote if you could send it to me.
I was sending you the whole interview. I sent Veronica too.
Okay.
So yeah.
To answer your question, my kids have surpassed my wildest dreams. I mean, they are just good people, and you know what? That's what matters. They're just good people. They're kind people. They look to around them and see if there are other people's hearts are out there. They're just wonderful. And my daughter is an actress now. She just finished college, theater, and my son is in something called the New Books Network, which is a podcast about books. And I have this amazing wife who basically took the lead in getting them there, and Deborah. So
yeah, so she's a children's author.
She is a children's author, but now she's a publisher. So now she makes like 40 million books a week. I think it's
wow.
Maybe they make a lot of books. They make a few hundred a year.
Yeah, she actually does the publishing for Blippi's books. Do you remember Blippi, Veronica?
Blippi, I remember Blippi briefly.
Yeah, so she works on that line. I don't know what I'm allowed to talk about on
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah,
But,
so she
let's just say it that I'm very lucky, and 20 years ago, if I would have imagined being here, I would have been very, very happy about that.
so
Not because of anything I did, but because of my family.
so Scott, where do you see yourself in 5 years from now? 5, 6
I'll get
years
up in the morning. I'll decide whether I should brush my teeth. I'll check your
No. I mean with your movie career.
My movie career.
Yeah, no, I mean 5 years from now.
I have a couple of things that I've written. A movie that I would like to direct. I don't want to direct too much super low budget stuff anymore. We'll see what happens with Rem Lezar. Maybe there's a Rem Lezar 2. If it was there, it'd be awesome. But it'd have to make
so who would you cast in Rem Lezar 2? Jack only?
Well, I would be very interested. Well, I can't tell you this on. Dude, this is public. If I tell you that, okay. You know what? Honestly, right now I'm looking at what's her name? Jennifer Aniston as Ashley, and I'm looking at to play an adult Zach. Maybe Brad Pitt, but there's that weirdness with the relationship.
Mm-hmm. What about
Shamim? You got to get their agents on the phone,
right?
Yeah,
he's the guy to do it.
The Boy, bring back the same actor.
Yes. I won't bring back the same actor.
How about the mom?
That's a good question. Some of the stuff's a little early. Mm-hmm. If we want to hang out some other time. Ronnie buys me my dinner.
You said
and fly there.
You said Rem 2. You've already got him ready to be your casting agent.
Oh, there's more exciting things for Shamim to come. Shamim, I got to tell you, Ronnie, this kid, man, this young man, it just amazes me.
So let's talk. Yeah, so from the poster.
Yes, he has this amazing poster. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, all because of your film. Without your film, there won't be no poster because
what would they design?
Yeah, they're the big poster that you saw 5 years ago. Or did you see it before that from somewhere?
I've seen it, heard about it throughout the years before you showed it to me. So
when did you first hear about it in 2014? That's when I started it. Or
I'll check back on my calendar.
So I started that poster on April 19th of 2014 with Tara Strong. She's the first one to sign it. And I don't know if she told you anything.
She only had one line.
Yeah, so from there,
Ronnie, I get this look on Ronnie's face like she has an agenda. And
I was gonna say I just met her too, which is really, really funny.
Who did you just meet?
Tara Strong. I just met her.
What's Ronnie?
I just met her for like 5 minutes, but it was a lot of fun. She signed my Loki stuff, which is I love Miss Minutes.
So she went to SAC Anime, an anime convention in Sacramento. So she actually she told me about she basically signed my Hello Kitty guitar, and then she actually she said the hotel maid was one of the fun voiceover, and in 2019 when James Honor Taylor signed the poster, he and Jim Cummings had we had an interesting conversation about that because he said James saved the film. He was the one who saved the film, and James said to Jim, Scott saved the film. And then Tom Kenny, when he first saw the poster, he said, "Holy crap, that's a lot of signatures. I better sign this before I die." And Adam West, a fun story about him.
Whose show is this?
I thought that that's his interview, not.
But we should keep doing it all night and never give up.
Yeah. right?
Yeah.
Right.
So Adam West, I met Adam in 2014 at Phoenix Comic Con.
Uh-huh.
He and Julie Newmar signed the poster. He said, "Bert, you better sign this poster." Bert said, "No, because I need the money for the dogs." He said, "Bert, don't be a pansy. Sign this poster for my friend Shmeem." And then Julie said, "Yeah, Bert's being a wuss. I just better sign it for Adam." And
Now,
then
to be clear, Adam and Bert, to my knowledge, are nothing but sweet guys who would never speak that way.
I know, I know. This is just a thing he just did on the spot. It's just like humor. Yeah, and then and the time Scott, you shared the limo with Stan Lee. That was a good story.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. He's going to reveal all of your secrets.
Dude. He finds things for me that I didn't even know I did. I didn't know I had kids till Shamim found them.
So for comic book the movie too.
Okay, we'll talk about that. That's always interviews.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So
Ronnie,
people.
It was so much fun trying to hang out with you and talk. I wish you all the best. I'm going to, of course, promote you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'll probably now I'm going to subscribe. I'll look for episodes that appeal to me, and I will definitely follow.
Thank you. Yeah. And I asked earlier, but I'll ask again. So, where can people find Rem Lezar or anything else that you're doing? I'm seeing links, but I put up one of the Facebook ones.
It's in the private chat, Veronica.
Yeah, that's the group. They just point or they can go right to Found Film Footage Store.
Okay, I wanted to confirm that.
Found Film Footage Store. I'm sure that'll pop right up.
Found Film Footage Store.
I can't wait to hear what you say about it. We really made this thing look pretty.
I still need to see that film. I have not seen Rem yet. I might need to start a Rem poster now.
Oh,
if there's any
exist. People be like, what?
So is there a poster exist of that? Or not?
Sort of. It's probably not for Ronnie's show, right? What's that?
Why isn't it for the show?
No. I meant like we're getting off topic a little bit.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I put the link down below. And if anyone wants to, it's available on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. So with Twitch, it won't always be there. But yeah, if you want to click on it and check it out, I am very interested because whenever you go back and go into the grainy stuff, like I'm always amazed when people clean that up. Like,
the tools are unbelievable now.
How long did it take you guys to do that?
That was a huge job. Was cleaning it up, and because we really wanted to restore it as much as you can.
Mm-hmm.
But you can only do so much, since it was always on standard def. Like films we have that right after that are on HD, whether it's 1080i, they transfer over great. Otherwise, you're trying to res them up. But it's never looked anywhere near this beautiful. It would have to have come from film to have made it look this good.
Are there details that surprised you when you redid it?
But always. I realized, especially seeing the footage of myself at the same time with that team and remembering that so well and that cast, it was really the nicest group I've ever worked with. The nicest group, the best kids, terrific. Like Comic Book the movie, I say that's the most talented group I've ever worked with. They were insanely.
Oh yeah, and Scott worked with Hugh Hefner as well.
No more stories. We'll do a part 2 for this show.
Yeah, Scott.
That's the rabbit hole we go down. I thank you again, Shamim. You got to call up RT, get your interview going, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Come in and yeah, thank you so much for joining us. Join us next week. We'll be doing another interview. Thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully we get another episode with you. We'll talk about, I'm sure you have a million stories that are probably 3 hours long that we can really talk about. Thank you so much for joining us. And we'll see everyone next week. Bye,
Thanks,
everyone.
Scott.
Bye, guys.
Bye,
Bye.
Scott.